Hi, and welcome back to Making Sense of AI. This is week 2 of our AI literacy campaign at Umemba Health. I am Quisha Umemba, your AI literacy and workforce development expert and your AI translator. I help you go from complexity to clarity when it comes to artificial intelligence. And I spend all my time reading, researching, and testing AI tools so you don't have to, breaking down the good, the great, the bad, and even the scary side of AI so you can make sense of where AI fits into your workplace and use it with confidence. Now, hopefully you have watched our week 1 training video where I broke down AI and the types of different AI. And hopefully by now you know that AI isn't just sci-fi anymore. I mean, it's still sci-fi, but it's not all sci-fi, right? So AI is in your phone, it's in your car, it's in your playlist, it's in your grocery apps, it's in the messages that you read online, it's everywhere around you, and it has been for some time. Yeah, I know many of you are still wondering, like, what can AI actually do and what's all the hype and why do people like Quisha nerd and geek out over AI? And I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about that today. So we're going to be breaking down the conversation on AI capabilities today using that LEAP framework. Remember that? LEAP, L-E-A-P, which stands for Learn, Explore, Apply, and Practice. And that helps you to understand AI's real world power. So let's get into the conversation today. I just want to quickly review LEAP for you. Now, when we talk about AI capabilities and what artificial intelligence systems can do, remember they come from these algorithms that are trained on lots of data. And so this allows them to hear, see, and read information and see the world through images, audio, and text. So that allows them to perceive. They can reason, so analyzing information, recognizing patterns, making predictions. They can generate new content, which is probably the funnest thing that you can do with AI and what we're going to talk a lot about today in this video. So things like writing, images, code, even music, and they can decide. So if you suggest actions or automate, use task AI to automate decisions based on your goals, they can do that as well. So think of AI as a toolbox. You know, every capability is a totally different tool. The more tools it has, the more tasks it can perform, but it still needs you. It still needs a human to use those tools wisely. Now, we explored ways, real world examples last week and how you can utilize AI, but I'll just give you a few examples if you haven't watched video 1. So in healthcare, for instance, we talked about how AI can scan thousands of images to detect diseases earlier than the human eye can. We talked about in education how it can personalize learning paths so students get help exactly where they're struggling. We talked about how entrepreneurs and small business owners are using AI in business to help them automate repetitive tasks, save time, reduce burnout, show up on social media even when they don't want to be. So if you've been following me for some while on our Umemba Health social media platforms, you've probably seen my clone, my cameo, my digital twin. There's a different name for all of them, but they're all Quisha 2.0, Quisha 3.0, Quisha 4.0. You get the point. And if you're a creative, you know that AI can help you with collaborating. It's great for brainstorming. It's great for producing visuals. If you're a musician, you can compose music with it. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with artificial intelligence. And these are just some of the examples. Again, AI works when humans define the goal, when you define the context, and when you are there in the loop. Next is analyze. So I talked to you about how important it is that you just don't take what AI gives you, right? So you want to always analyze the output that you get from AI. First of all, is it useful, right? Are you using the right task for the job? Is there any bias? Is there misinformation? A lot of times, not a lot of times, it's all the times you want to fact check. And sometimes I even ask the AI to fact check that for me. Like, check yourself. Where did you get this information? So you want to ask that as well. Don't just take it. It's not perfect. It's not meant to be a tool that replaces anything. It's a good first draft. It's good for brainstorming. It's a good assistant, right? It's a good collaborator, a good partner. But you have to make sure that you check the information that that is going to give you. And then the last step in the LEAP framework is practice, right? Practice makes perfect. You've heard this over and over again. Now, will you probably ever get perfect with AI? No, because it's moving too fast. There's something we like to say that AI moves at the speed of AI. I'm not even perfect when it comes to it, but I practice enough and use enough AI tools that I feel very confident in accomplishing the goals that I'm trying to accomplish using those tools. So learn, explore, analyze, practice. You want to know more about that, then come to the next AI literacy workshop. We have them every Wednesday. The link is below this video somewhere. Join us and learn more about Leap and how you can incorporate it in your business or in your organization. All right, let's get into AI capabilities. Now, AI is not one thing. It is a set of superpowers. You can call on them when you need them. And so the first that we're going to talk about is text to text. If you can describe it, it can draw it or sketch it or animate it or do it, whatever it is. And so with these capabilities, and there's several that you see on the left side of your screen, there are text to text, text to image, text to video, text to task, there's text to code, there's text to even more things, but I just want to talk about what I call the 4 core capabilities because this is primarily how I use AI. And so with text to text, if you give it a prompt, it returns. So it's going to write ideas for you, write those great first drafts. It's going to summarize things for you. It's going to translate things for you. Think about translation into other languages, right? This is one of the ways that I help my clients. It's going to code comments. It's going to write emails for you. And some of you have already used it in this capacity, and that's great if you have. But for those of you that have been scared to give it a try, you might be surprised at how good or maybe how bad it is, because you do have to prompt. And we're going to talk about prompting shortly in this video and more in depth in a future video. So here's a simple example of what I mean by a prompt. If I am using something like ChatGPT and I say, summarize this 900-word article that I've just written into 5 bullet points for a busy parent, right? I am a new mom. If you didn't know, I have a 10-week-old. And so if I was writing something for busy parents that have 10-week-olds and they don't have time to read a 900-word article, it might be helpful for me to summarize that. Now, that may not necessarily be the best prompt. One thing that you want to remember when you're prompting is you want to add a role, you want to add a goal, you want to add some guardrails, right? So you might want to say things like, you're a college tutor, and the goal is to explain this on a 9th grade reading level. You may want to say, keep it under 120 words, right? The clearer the inputs, the clearer the output. So here at Umemba Health, we use the prompt framework, go figure, PROMT, and we're not going to get into it much today in this video. You have to come to the live workshops to learn more about how we use the prompt framework, but the P stands for purpose, the R stands for role, the O stands for output, the M stands for your must-haves, the P parameters, and the T is your tone or your test. So I could say a simple prompt like write about CHWs, right? So if you've been following Umemba Health, you know we are an accredited organization and we train and certify community health workers. So I could say write about CHWs. Okay, well, it may write about anything. That's not very specific. It's wide open. It doesn't give it much context. But if I use the prompt framework, I can say, help me create a 1-page handout about CHWs, that is the purpose, act like a health educator, that is the role, create a job aid, that is the output, include 3 duties, and use plain language. And, I could even go even further and say no higher than an 8th grade reading level. That's my must have. And then I want to give it a parameter. So I could say this is for new CHWs, new to the field with limited medical jargon. And then I want to give it another prompt that says, keep the tone supportive and simple. That is my tone or my test. So if I give it a prompt with all of that detail, it's going to give me out a first draft that's probably going to be pretty close to perfect, although I may need to tweak it a little bit. But the comparison, if I give it that simple prompt that says write about CHWs versus giving it the prompt framework prompt, then it's going to be a much better output. And so just remember, when it comes to prompting, garbage in, garbage out. Again, we go through this in our live workshop. So if you want to join us, the link's below this video. But I'm going to go into this in more detail in a future video. So stay tuned to the series. All right. So next we're going to talk about text to image. And this is basically you are describing a screen, you're writing a prompt, right? And the model that you're using is going to generate original visuals. So that's things like logos, concept art, thumbnails, storyboard. If you can write it and conceive it, depending on the model, the AI system that you're using, it can create it, right? So here's an example of a prompt. I could say something like, create a flat pastel icon of a bee reading a book. White background, square image, friendly, I could even go as far as to say, give me bold outlines, high contrast, comic book vibe, or I could do, anime style, whatever you're looking for. If you can think of it, if you can conceive it and you can prompt it adequately and appropriately, then you can generate that particular image almost perfectly using AI tools. And again, I'll show you what this looks like in later videos. I just want to just introduce you to the AI capabilities right now. Now, I also want to say there's some safety considerations you want to consider too when it comes to these. So, you want to make sure that you're avoiding copying real artists' names and real artists' work, right? So you want to describe the style by features instead. You also want to check the rights before using the images commercially. Always look to see what the policies are for every platform that you're using. And we'll get more into that when we get into that session, that training video in the series later. All right, so now we're going to talk about text to image. So text to image is short clips, animated explainers, or storyboarded scenes that can come from prompts or scripts. Here's an example. Give me a 30-second vertical video, show a seed sprouting into a tree, add someone sitting on the ground in front of it, playing the ukulele gently, and on the screen, I want to see the words start small, right? Anytime you want to see words or you want your subject to be speaking, you want to put those in quotation marks. So it does sound like a lot. It can be a lot, and it is a skill, right? That's why you have people that call themselves prompt engineers. I will be honest, I am not the best at prompting images. I am not the best at prompting videos. However, I am really good at going to a platform like ChatGPT and saying, this is my image or this is my vision that I want you to help me bring to life. And I will tell it to give me a prompt for this particular video or give me a prompt for this particular image. Then I will take the prompt from ChatGPT and put that prompt in the video maker or generator or the image generator or whatever tool that I'm using. And again, I'll go over these tools in a later video. Now, here's a pro move. Always provide your structure when you're doing your text to images. Look at your shot list, pacing. You can do the mood, you can do captions. The more that you specify, the less mistakes and hallucinations that your system will generate from you. All right, so text to task. Now, AI doesn't just create, it performs steps. So things like scheduling meetings for you, sorting data for you, drafting emails, and then sending them with approval, even running a checklist for you. So here's an example. I could say to my Microsoft Copilot, right? Every Friday, I want you to summarize the top 5 issues from this particular spreadsheet, right? Or I want you to summarize the emails that have come in from the day and draft a report and email it to me every day, right? So that is text to task, and it is incredible. I mean, it acts as an assistant. But here's the thing, just like all of the other capabilities, you want to start with the human in the loop. You want to make sure that there's a goal in mind, that the actions are logged. You want to define the success criteria, and you want to make sure that you keep the automation safe and reliable. And so I'll show you again in future videos an example of text to task and how you can embed that in your day-to-day work processes or in your business workflows. All right, so let's do a quick recap here about these AI capabilities. And most of these you will be able to get in any kind of platform that performs generative AI. So that's your ChatGPT, that's your Claude, that is your Google Gemini, etc. So text to text polishes your ideas, it visualizes concepts. You've got your text to video, which brings stories to life. Text to images should be on this slide, right? Because we talked about that as well. That also helps you to generate images from the words, pictures that you then can go to different platforms and create talking head videos out of. And again, if you follow us on social media, you've seen us use some of those platforms to generate some of those videos. And then last, we talked about text to task, which gets repeatable work done. So if you found this helpful and you want to find out more about AI tools and how you can use them to improve work, life, business, etc., learn AI at Umemba Health by visiting our website, umembahealth.com. And be sure to follow me for more trends, tips, tools, and real world examples that will keep you informed and future ready. I'll see you in the next video.